I'm just glad I put the work in during the rehab so I can reflect on that moment, come out here, be here with my guys, everybody supporting through the way. So to make it this far with everybody just means a lot.
Jamal Murray, born February 23rd, 1997. Today's feature is the tremendous growth spurt story of a guy that's been doing great things at every level of his career thus far, yet somehow always flew under the radar. Until now, specifically what he's been able to do since his return this season from a disappointing ACL injury that kept him out all last year, and his record-breaking run thus far in the 23 NBA playoffs, averaging 28 points, 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds, and shooting close to 40% from 3. With Game 1 of the NBA Finals in the books and a successful Jamal Murray Finals debut, you can't help but feel this may be the point in Murray's career where they finally take notice of what he's done thus far and been able to develop into at 26 years old. Of his 2016 draft class, he could realistically end up its best and most successful player, and to think he's never even been an All-Star. Being able to close out this year's NBA Finals against the Miami Heat with a championship could most certainly solidify that, making it exciting to see what he does going forward, entering his prime as one of the best point guards in the game to date. Whether he ends up on top of the mountain, so to speak, we have to finally give Jamal Murray his flowers for being one of the most savvy, high IQ, fearless, and not afraid of the big moment players in the game today that we don't talk about. It might be easy to look at this and say, well, wait a second. It's just Game 1. His team hasn't won the championship yet, and who knows if Jamal Murray avoids completely collapsing in the next 6 games and the Miami Heat complete the most difficult and against all odds championship wins in history. Then he goes on to lose all confidence and fizzles out the rest of his prime and never makes it back to this level again. Well, first I'd say,
you're being Negative Nancy. Stop it. Okay, unless you want everyone to call you Negative Nancy from now on.
Secondly, that's highly unlikely to happen, seeing as this has been a long time coming for Jamal Murray, who was improving all across the board in his first 5 years in the NBA, missed an entire season and playoff run because of injury, and now in his first year back, he's averaged equal or better numbers than he did in his career season in 2021. Not to mention, he's currently riding his career high year in the playoffs, finally the player the Nuggets saw him being when they took him 7th overall, and the perfect fit next to one of the game's greatest players of all time, Nikola Jokic. Going forward, I expect Jamal Murray to challenge top point guards year in and out, not for all NBA teams and all-stars, but for championships, as this may be the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray's era now that everything has come together. 3 growth spurts in Jamal Murray's career that's led him to finally being seen. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Jamal Murray is a 6'4" combo guard from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada that fell for the game at 3 years old and since then has been advanced when it comes to basketball. By 6, he could dribble through his legs with ease and through defenders, and by 13, sparring against the best college prospects. By high school, Murray was low-key showing he was one of the top players outplaying American teams and their top guys since the 2015 Nike Hoop Summit to defeat the US and capture the MVP. He reclassified from the 2016 high school class, further showing he was once again much more advanced than his age group. He was ranked outside the top 10 in 2016 to just barely being included in the top 10 in the 2015 class. Ahead of him, almost all but Ingram, Brown, and Simmons not a bust in the NBA. He committed to Kentucky and had a freshman year leading the team, averaging 20 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists while shooting 40% from 3, the most points per game by a freshman in UK history. Add to that, there were 6 future NBA players on his team. In the 2016 draft, 4 players that play his position was taken in front of him. Spurt number 1, room to grow. 3 words a player would be lucky and grateful to hear coming into their NBA career. It's those words that allowed Jamal Murray to hit his first growth spurt. All those words really mean is opportunity. Just as much as we talk about the disadvantages of being drafted by the wrong team, Jamal was fortunate to have had the opposite happen and experienced the benefits of being given such opportunity early on. He was taken by a team that couldn't have been a better fit for his talent to find its footing. Add to that, he got the opportunity in just his second season in the league due to Jameer Nelson being waived by the Nuggets October 2017, near the beginning of Murray's breakout second season. And Emmanuel Mudiay, their prized 7th overall pick the year before Jamal fell to the same number, dealt with injury and also being demoted because of Jamal's development finding its track. Murray played in 81 games that season, starting 80 of them, shooting 45, 37, and 90 from the field, 3, and free throw line. Numbers that just about reached the coveted 50-40 club that distinguishes the mark of a great shooter from his peers. Recent players to achieve this: Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. There's only been 9 in the history of the NBA. Murray isn't quite there yet, and not even an all-star in his 7-year career, probably because his games played has dwindled every year since entering the league until it finally broke in the form of a torn ACL in 2021 that forced him to miss the 21 playoffs and the entire 21-22 season and that playoff run as well, where his team lost in the first round to the Warriors. Murray has always been talented enough to play at an advanced level, and the NBA was no different. But room to grow or opportunity is not guaranteed, and Jamal was able to get that in Denver, not only believing in him to draft another point guard right after Mudiay, but to insert him early on and give him the keys to his confidence being unlocked and the franchise for the next decade plus. Spurt number 2, having Nikola Jokic. Another circumstance one could only dream of falling into is having a dominant teammate like Nikola Jokic before you both or one becomes a superstar, even if no one saw his dominance coming. Almost like Scottie Pippen being added to the Chicago Bulls to team up with Jordan. According to Scottie, he was the best thing to ever happen to Jordan.
Stop the cap.
And I know Murray and Jokic are ways away from being on that level, but the timing and fit couldn't have been better, as they both practically grew up at the same time, all with the same team that drafted them and cultivated their talents together. This allows them to look as seamless as they do now in the 2023 NBA playoffs. No, they haven't won yet, but I'll go on a limb and say the Nuggets won't lose more than 1 game against the Heat and quite possibly sweep them all together to win the first championship in history for the Nuggets since being in the NBA. They are playing that well, much because Murray and Jokic are both healthy and having a connection they've developed over the years, running through the fire together, even if at times the other had to watch from the sidelines. Having Jokic be the perfect counterpart in IQ, savvy, and competitiveness was basketball steroids for Murray's career. Spurt number 3, overcoming a severe injury. Another reason Jamal Murray was able to hit a growth spurt and deserves his flowers is for the way he was able to overcome and succeed so far after missing more than a year with an ACL injury. When Murray went down April 2021, many assumed his career was most likely never going to be the same. After all, we've seen how an ACL tear hurt Derrick Rose's career in that he was never the same consistently ever since he went down, and how it changed his Hall of Fame potential. Murray was never as explosive as Rose, but athleticism in the form of quickness and speed were still a part of Murray's success. The difference with Murray and Derrick Rose, though, is Murray's game, more than sheer breathtaking athleticism, was good because of how crafty and creative Murray can get with his defender. The prototypical no-wasted dribble kind of player. He also shot better and more than Rose, so can rely on that during the game and not the pressure of coming back just as athletic and using that burst so often. Murray can kill you from the ground, not always in the air. This season, he's right at his points per game average before the injury and much more assists in less minutes. All in all, I can't wait to see what Murray becomes going forward now that he's arrived in the NBA on the biggest stage. They, as a team, still have to close out the Miami Heat and win the championship and maybe even a Jamal Murray Finals MVP. Either way, we see you, Jamal. We see, and glued to watching much more. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.